Hey everyone, this is Andy Hall. We are going live a bit early today just because we've been riffing so much on rubber duckies, Bert and Ernie, what that rubber ducky really did, what was the function within their dyad. With me, as always, is of course Sam Slade, and our guest today is Dead Air Dennis. How you doing, man? How are you doing, guys?
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me back again. It really feels the time of this never-ending, maddening void of sadness, despair, and cookies.
And cookies. You know, I'm glad that you brought up food because I decided to make my apocalypse even worse.
Yeah. Let me guess. You went vegan?
I went vegetarian. I went vegetarian. I'm on day, I don't even know what day this is. I'm on day 7. I started August 1st, and I am officially vegetarian. I haven't gone full vegan. I don't plan to go full vegan. I'm just happy not being part of killing small animals, basically.
From one part-time vegetarian to a new vegetarian, let me give you a couple tips and tricks.
Oh, please do.
Yeah, one of the things that helped me when I started doing a more vegetarian lifestyle is frozen bag of vegetables, tortilla shells, and buffalo sauce.
Oh,
quick, dirty, easy. You throw them into a bowl, a little bit of water, microwave them for whatever it says. I think 2 minutes. Throw them in a wrap. Throw some cheese in it. Throw some buffalo sauce. Burrito it up, right in the mouth. Quick, easy, and satisfies that that junk food. Hearty temptation that you have. Morningstar foods are awesome. I love all their products. They actually taste really good. Morningstar hot dogs, I have literally passed off to people hot dogs, and they've never noticed the difference between
them. You trying to get shot, man?
I'm from Baltimore. I've taken a bullet. I'm not afraid.
I know, it's so funny, Dennis. I always so associate you with Boston, being up there these days, being in Andy's part of the world, and then we start talking to you, and just your natural character. I'm like, oh yeah, no, he's from Baltimore. He would rip Andy's arms off and beat him to death with his own fucking wrist.
Oh, he's shanked him over.
While I'm sitting there going, Andy, use your other hand.
Unfortunately, Andy's not left-handed, so. But yeah, no. So Morningstar is good. The chicken nuggets are very good. They taste just like regular shitty old McDonald's chicken nuggets. So Morningstar Foods, highly recommend them. And now you have such a benefit now. Like, one of the big problems when I went vegetarian or attempted to go, flexitarian, I called it, because it's like, we try to put, I still try to add as many vegetarian meals as I can. There is so much more. Like, it was really hard to find something on the go.
Yeah,
that was like satisfying, especially fast food wise. But now with the you have the Impossible Burger, Burger King has the Impossible Burger, which is legit. Love it. In 2014, I think it was. I took a trip specifically to New York just to try the Impossible Burger when there was only 2 places that sold it. A restaurant. The first restaurant was in San Francisco. The second was Momofuku Nishi in Chelsea, and it was glorious and wonderful, and I loved every single second, every bite and savory of it. And the Whopper one's good.
What I like about the Impossible Whopper is that it's not healthy.
It is. It has less salt. There's no cholesterol. There's very limited fat in it. It's still cooked in the same grill with other burgers, so it's picking up some of that from there. So it's quasi-vegetarian and quasi-healthy, but it's still better for you than a regular Whopper.
Yes, this is true.
Right.
It's like my opinion on the vegetarian stuff is like, I'm going to make small choices now so I can make terrible decisions later on still. The reason the listeners don't know this, but the reason I did a more vegetarian diet is because I had 2 heart attacks and a stroke in 2016.
Oh my God, Dennis! Holy shit, man!
Dude, Dennis has the craziest story. He's got the straight up craziest story about this whole.
Well, Dennis, Andy, you know this about me because we've been close over the years. But Dennis, you're talking about the lifestyle change, being vegetarian. I'm sitting over here like in the on deck circle, going, "Oh, just wait till I drop my heart attack story. Here we go." And Dennis is just like all casually, like, "By the way, I had 2 heart attacks and a stroke. Same year. Good night, everybody. Try to follow that. Bye." He rose, taking the hat off, just.
Sam, if it makes you feel any better, the stroke was caused by the surgery to stop the second heart attack. Because
okay, I'm going back to bed, everybody. Good night.
I was 34. How old were you when you had yours, Sam?
I was 33. It was last year. I was working for Julian Castro, and I don't think when Andy found out that I had a heart attack after the way I was bitching and moaning about that campaign, he was surprised one bit.
Not at all. Not at all. It was all predictable. Horribly predictable. But Dennis, didn't you walk to the hospital? Didn't you walk to the hospital?
I did, yes. All right, so here's how the first one happened. It was I was alone in my apartment on Christmas Day. I had eaten throughout the day a pound of bacon and a large frozen pepperoni pizza that I had cooked. I didn't eat frozen.
I mean, it was Christmas. Come on.
And, I mean, that was my thing for holidays, was just eat a large frozen pepperoni pizza on holidays, because that was just my thing. I'd spend them at home alone because my family's back in Baltimore. I live in Boston. My roommates would go see their family, and I'd be alone, and I'd eat pizza. That was my thing. That was how I enjoyed my holidays. And so I did that. On the next day, the 26th, my roommate, one of my roommates, comes home late at night. And throughout the entire day, I'm palpitations. My heart's racing for an entire day straight. Minor chest pain, and I'm like, oh, no, this is gonna go away. This can't be. Oh man! So finally, he comes by, and I'm like, all right, hey, look, dude, I'm not feeling well. I'm having chest pains. My heart's racing. I'm gonna go to the hospital. Would you mind walking with me up to the hospital just in case I pass out on the way up there? You could call 911 because ambulances are expensive, and I live 5 blocks away. So he's like, yeah, all right, sure. And I go, and I would get down there. He waits by at the door and goes back home.
And guys, that was pre-COVID time where you could go all the way in with your friend and pretty much into like surgery and hold his hand back then.
Well, it was 11 o'clock at night. He was about to fall asleep. That's why that's why I went there. Because like, if he falls asleep, then I can't wake him up to walk me to the hospital, because that would just be rude. So we do that. I get there. They do a bunch of tests and checks, and they're like, you know what? We can't find anything wrong with you. You're only 34. There's no, your chest, you're having chest pains, but they are asymptomatic to a heart thing. We don't think it's a heart attack, but what we're going to recommend is that you go home and call this number, sign up for a stress test, and then we'll follow up with the cardiologist, and they'll deal with it then. So on Monday morning, I called cardiologist, and they put me on a 3-week wait list not to have a stress test, to meet the doctor.
Fuck all about it.
And then have a stress.
Let's just die already, Dennis.
So that was on a Monday. On Wednesday, I'm at the comedy studio here in Harvard Square. I was doing a set. I bombed. I just was. I couldn't get up the stairs. Like if you've ever here in Boston, the old comedy studio is on the 3rd level of a Chinese restaurant, and I had trouble getting up the stairs because every time I started walking or moving or doing anything exertion, the pain would become so much more intense. So I do my set. I bomb. I go home. I get off I take the bus home. I'm about to walk up, and I'm walking halfway up, and I get to my house, and I'm like, I can't, I stopped 3 times on the 3-block walk to my house from the bus stop. So I was like, I can't take this. I call an ambulance. I said, please don't turn. I'm out front. Don't turn on your sirens. Don't want to wake my neighbors. I get in, they drive me to the hospital. They're doing all this stuff and tests. And eventually they find out that I had a 90% blockage in my left arterial descending, also known as the Widowmaker, which is not what my doctor referred to it as, but it's
the doctor called it the new roommate maker.
Yeah, right. So that was on a Wednesday. That Thursday they found the blockage, which was New Year's Eve. Had surgery immediately, and then on Friday, New Year's Day, 2016, I left the hospital, went home, got a call from the doc who ejected me from the ER the week prior. Call in and it's like, hey, we were following your case, just checking to make sure you're okay, which is code for, hey, just checking to make sure you're not going to sue us because we kicked you out of the hospital while having a heart attack for a week.
So you don't call any lawyers or anything. Okay, cool.
They get really mad when you walk into the ER with chest pains, because I did that the second time as well at Mount Auburn Hospital. And they're like, the reason I went to Mount Auburn instead of St. Elizabeth's is because I was closer to it and I was already doing rehab there. So I was like, let's see what their food tastes like. I walked in having chest pains and they're like, why are you doing this? What is wrong with you? Call an ambulance. I'm like, I'm fine.
Okay. Hey, how tall and what were you weighing at the time, Dennis? Let's give people an idea here.
I'm 5'6". I think I was about 230, 240 at the time, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, I was close. I was about, I was like 5'10", like maybe 215 at the time. So right, same neighborhood.
Yeah. And it wasn't, I mean, the weight and the diet doesn't help, but also I have hereditary high cholesterol. My body just produces more cholesterol than the average person because I'm born to fail and destined to lose. So,
yeah,
that's a T-shirt, dude. You should put that in a T-shirt. That's like magic.
Mike Ness from Social D will sue me for copyright infringement of one of his song lyrics. But so yeah, like my brother who is a vegetarian has been on cholesterol lowering medication his whole life. I was supposed to be on it. I just wasn't taking because I didn't have health care at the time. So,
it's so funny you said that. I did a set the night before my little cardiac episode myself. I actually had a great set, unplanned. I stopped at a video actually to pick up a vegetarian burger from this place. As funny as that is, this local place, the Buzz Mill, where I used to host a show. I go and pick up their little Impossible homemade in-house. And I'm hanging out there, and a comic, Jason Johnson, really funny guy, is like, "Hey, man, what are you doing? I thought you were in San Antonio doing the Castro stuff." I was like, I'm in San Marcos, whatever. Just stop by, grab a bite real quick, headed back to the house, whatever. Oh, dude, we still do the show tonight. You should jump on, do a set. Well, Dennis, 48 hours before I found out that my ex-wife, within 9 months of us getting divorced, I found out I was already remarried and pregnant and like weeks away from a kid. So I found all that up, and I'm like, geez.
I just want to say that's not the craziest part of this story.
That's not? Okay.
That's not even fucking close to the craziest part of that story, but keep going, Sam.
Oh, yeah. We've never done that with Dennis.
We never did it with Sam. No. It's
So I do the set or whatever, and I feel great. But it's that kind of set where it's such like serious real life shit I had talked about on stage. It's not as fun hanging out. Yeah, I don't want to have drinks with anybody. I just go home. I got to be back in San Antonio, back at the campaign office early the next morning. Drive all the way back to San Antonio. That's gonna suck. I'm just gonna go home and go to bed. I wake up the next morning, Dennis, exactly what you were describing before you walk to the hospital, where you're just like, it won't stop. And you think maybe it's, morning anxiety, whatever. I've got, over here we got Amy Klobuchar breathing down my neck all day on a Wednesday. You're like, I got to deal with these motherfuckers today once I get to San Antonio. So you're like, I'll calm down. Hey, you know what? We'll mix it up. We'll do a bath today. See if we can lower the stress levels a little. Nice ease into the day kind of ride. Never stopped. You would have thought I got in a fucking ride at Schlitterbahn, not a hot bath. I'm just like, and finally I had to text a nurse friend of mine. Boy, and she's a fun follow on Facebook right now. She's just fucking heads are rolling on her comments, rightfully so. But I text her, I go, hey, here's what's going on with me this morning. What do you think, bud? And she's like, you need to get in the car right now. If you don't have a ride, don't wait for an Uber. This is a year ago at the beginning times, before times, as we say. And I drove myself in a hilarious, like Harold Ramis flick scene, having a heart attack, driving across San Marcos, trying to get to the hospital, like swerving around, like trying to beat lights. And I finally walk in and I'm like, my ancestors are having a heart attack. Boy, like you're talking about, Dennis, they were not happy to hear that. They plunked me into a wheelchair. They say, I know the doors are flying open. They're rushing me to the back. And I lucked out with like the coolest old black nurse you could imagine, exactly what I needed. He was just like, oh, you're going to be okay. Meanwhile, my mom is texting me, telling me it's not a heart attack. Go to work. And we're Irish, So I didn't want to make a stink about it. Went back to the campaign a few days later and casually brought it up at lunch one day to some people. Like, oh, yeah, Monday I went here because I had a heart attack. So. and they were basically like, oh, wow, you shouldn't come back here anymore. You should work from home. That really upsets us.
Take a couple stress-free days away from work.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, work from the place where you feel the most comfortable, please.
Right.
So, Sam, were you telling them that you had a heart attack while you were lighting up 2 cigarettes and puffing away at them?
Yeah, so I had a cigarette in my hand and a Philly cheesesteak in the other. We're sitting and we're right behind this taco truck and it's just exhaust just blasting in our face. You can barely even see my face as I'm telling them there's so much exhaust. Anyway, cheesesteak was great.
So did you have a catheterization as well? Did they put in
No. It wasn't serious enough. It was first of all, I went to probably the worst hospital in the Central Texas area. I don't even want to say the name of it, but every medical professional in the Austin area who I have told this story to was like, before I get there, they go, "You didn't go to that place, did you?" And I was like, "That's the next part of the story." It was me pulling up to the fucking parking lot, running in, trying to run it. Like, "Oh no, you shouldn't have gone there." I'm like, well, what was the move? Attempt to drive 40 minutes all week. Like, ooh. Red Fox over here. This is the big one. Like, what was my move, guys?
My pain levels were so low generally, and then they would spike up with but they weren't usually the pains in the arm and in the shoulder or in the jaw and the neck. Mine was literally just right here. But like, well, when you have a heart attack, it's very asymptomatic. It's very unlikely that you have actual chest pains.
Right. That's what people feel. I'm just gonna grab some water. I can hear you guys.
But yeah, so it's very asymptomatic. So they were no rush or concern for me because they're like, I mean, look, you're overweight. Oh, you smoke? Yeah, that's danger territory, but you're probably not having a heart attack. Don't worry. It's probably I've been told so many times that it's indigestion. I'm like, I know what heartburn feels like. Feels like a burning heart. Like it's so.
I know, Dennis. Guys with our body type, you're going, no. We know what indigestion feels like. Look at us.
Yeah. We have a black belt in that.
Yeah.
By the way, the best part of your story is me picturing you driving that street with your head out the window, just speeding through intersections, going, "Wow!"
Yeah, that's about what it was like, Dennis. You pretty much nailed it. I mean, that was terrifying. And then, of course, everybody's like, "Well, why did you drive yourself?" I'm like, "What's my move? San Marcos doesn't have Starflight. We barely have like 5 cop cars here at the time." Yeah. But you're so right, Dennis. And I don't think enough guys our age realize it. Andy, I think, is just generally more healthier than we are. I think it's very clear.
It's the fear that does it. It's the fear of death.
Yeah, well, I mean, my father had 2 heart attacks and 2 strokes, and he weighed 120 pounds.
Oh yeah, that happens.
So yeah, I mean, my body. I am the most overweight person in my family.
Me too.
I'm family, but and I'm but I'm also like I was an athlete growing up. Even when I was overweight, I was still very strong and healthy and right. Active. I mean, granted, the reason I was overweight is because out of high school I was eating McDonald's twice a day every day because it was
cheeseburgers, $1 double cheeseburgers. They fucking gave us no option.
Man, they're great.
But the point I wanted to throw in before, I don't want it to be the cardiac hour this morning. People are having enough stress worrying about their heart attack, watching the news, and Mr. I read once a week. But
cheers to Sons of Mice, who also had a heart attack as well. Apparently his was fatal. So he's chat from the beyond.
So he is a ghost in the chat. Well, that's an interesting Friday morning. What I was going to say, guys, is you're so right, Dennis. The fact that most men don't realize it doesn't have to be chest pain. Like the Kevin Smith story. That's what got me thinking this might be a heart attack. Because it really, I'm joking around about the Red Fox thing, but it's not like Farley on Super Fans, It could be something very minute that you don't even think much about, and next thing you know, it could be too late.
Yeah.
Well, they told me when they finally found the blockage in my heart, they said that if this becomes 100% block right this second here in the hospital, we won't be able to save you. We need to do this right now because if this blocks up, you will die instantly.
So they brought you in and put you into surgery. How fast?
I mean, within an hour.
Wow.
That's when they started moving really quick, and they weren't in a panic. They were just like, "All right, cool. So here's the deal. You need to do this. You need to sign this. We need to have surgery now." And I'm like,
"You're not the first guy that happened to. I'm sure at that hospital." No.
And it was them because the reason they said, "Well, if this blocks up now, you're going to die instantly. We're not going to be able to save you." Was said when I was like, "Can I have a moment to think about this? This is a little overwhelming." They're like, "You can have a minute, but just know this blockage becomes 100%, you will die. You have a 90% and a 50%. If anywhere in that part of your heart gets full, gets completely locked, you will die." Like,
Take your time and think about it, Dennis. If you need, we'll get you a magazine if you want to maybe read some editorials in Sports Illustrated. But just know just know that shit is clogging by the second. So go ahead.
Tell you what, why don't you walk over to the next hospital across town and get a second opinion?
Yeah,
and then know what you want
go
to do.
see what's going on in their cafeteria today and come back and look at our menu and then see what you want to do. Clock's ticking, motherfucker.
I suppose my question would be, so what are the chances of me walking out of the operation in one piece? That would be
in
a
this day
question
and
I
age,
would have. Yeah.
it's an amazingly successful rate because it's they do it not laparoscopic. They do it through a catheterization. Basically, instead of where it's like during my when my dad had his surgeries, they had to slice him open, crack open his chest, and get in there.
Yeah.
Very invasive and very traumatizing to the body, and requires a ton.
When do you think that was, Dennis? What year do you think that would have been?
That happened to my dad. I was in 8th grade. So what's that?
So we're talking
94.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, because even I remember how big of a deal it was when Regis and Letterman and Clinton all got heart surgery and they got their chest cracked, and everybody was so worried about these older guys. Now, like what Dennis is talking about, it's just, I mean, it's so just right up, snake up through you.
And here's the thing: the reason. So there's two ways that they do this angioplasty is through the carotid artery, and what they do is they make a small incision in your leg and your crotch, and they feed a tube all the way up your body into your heart, a wire with a tube, and they blow up a little balloon and they put in a block in there. The other way they do it is the way they did it for me, which they didn't tell me until they did the surgery. The reason they go through not the femoral, is what's the largest vein in the body? Is it the femoral artery?
I think it is, yes.
So yeah, they go through the femoral. I used
to take your word for it.
So the reason they do that is because it's the largest vein in the body, and usually old people have very collapsed veins. They're much smaller and they're a lot harder to go through. It's like trying to navigate a car down a one-way street with cars parked on both sides and a garbage truck coming down the opposite wrong way.
And don't even get us started on Keith Richards' veins.
Right. Which are smaller than the needles he injects into you. So that's how they do it for older people, because like that's their best going through that. And that's not as invasive of chest breaking, but it is pretty invasive. For me, they went through my arm right here.
Wow.
Yeah. So they went through here. They strapped me up like crucifixion on a table, and
you earned it.
Same exact thing. I earned it because I was a thief and a blasphemer. But then they go all the way through and they do the exact same thing through here. And the reason they could do it for me is because I'm young and healthy.
To be honest.
And they did it both ways that way. And one, you can still see one of the scars, but it's like a tiny little dot. So I don't even have like cool bitchin' scars that I can talk chicks into saying like, yeah, I got into a knife fight.
You're like, check this shit out. You're like, you see this little Jesus? Yeah. No, it's actually not a freckle. That's how they saved my life.
I was swimming in a lake and a shark came at me with a knife. I won. I can't even have a cool story like that. So yeah, and it's the chance of success is so much higher now than it was years ago. It's because of that. It's a lot easier. I mean, it's a lot more work on them. Although I think doctors in this day and age, cardiologists, are so much better at doing it this day and age, because it's essentially like playing a VR virtual game where you just got goggles on and a joystick and you're moving a tiny wire through a tiny little
through like the Pac-Man course, Dennis, and you just
at one point my doctor even threw an extra quarter in my ears, like just in case we need a one-up.
Just in case I get to a continue. When I got to the hospital, I thought this is a sign of how much better healthcare in Boston is as opposed to Central Texas. Even in the before times down here where we were refused to expand Medicaid or, any kind of idea to get people affordable health insurance must be from the Muslim black agenda. Even if it's sick children, maybe they shouldn't try to be so Islami. Okay. Sorry, guys, you got to cough to death and die. But when I walked in, the first thing they asked me, they go, have you ever tricked anybody eating in a vegetarian hot dog?
Yeah, no, I did. I used to do a bunch of backyard comedy shows here in Boston. So we would call it comedy barbecue. And we buy a bunch of cheap burgers and dogs and grill up and have my friends perform for other friends. And it was a great fun time. And one day, I just called one of my, in fact, a buddy of mine who's going to be coming on the podcast, Terrence Reeves, a brilliant musician. I had him come up and I was like, hey, I want you to try this hot dog here. And, I'm on the mic introduction. I was like, have this hot dog. And he's like, oh, it tastes great. Like, good. I was like, how is it? So it's really good. It's not as greasy as most hot dogs. It tastes really good that you, like, I don't know what you did on the grill to make it so good. And I was like, it's a vegetarian hot dog from Morningstar Farms. Everyone, this kind of show is sponsored by Morningstar Farms. Food is so good, it'll fool your friend.
That's
ingredient is. And I did it as a bit. I wasn't really passing hot dogs off on other people, and be like, like it's not what was it? A trick, prank show TV.
Oh, you mean like when Tom Green served everybody on that cruise ship little paninis with his chest hair in it? Remember that when we were kids?
Yeah. So I did it to a friend as a bit, and luckily I knew he would have been okay with it. He wouldn't have got he's not the kind of guy that was going to spit it out and be like, fuck you, Dennis, for fooling me. He would have been like, yes, ending the whole thing, whether he was happy about it or not. But yeah, no, they taste that good, especially if you cook it on the grill. Here in Boston,
some onions and peppers. What's up?
Yeah, stuff on it. I mean, I like my hot dogs with ketchup and mustard, and as little as possible, just a hint of ketchup and a hint of mustard. Like I just open the bottle and just wave it over it, just so it has a small little bit of amount. Like I don't like it dousing that. But I mean, if you're throwing chili and I've had some really good. I mean, chili doesn't even need to have meat in it to be good. Like there's some vegetarian chilies out there that are good.
That's what I was going to say at the top of this is the other night, Tara and I made. Who are we kidding? I made some very, very awesome. Basically, it turned into like a vegetarian gumbo kind of situation. Man, it was awesome. We ate on it for like 2 days. It was just hearty and comfort food where you just, you eat a bowl like that on top of a little bit of white rice. Turn on Entourage and watch Johnny Drama ruin his life some more.
Who doesn't like hot dogs?
Apparently, Epileptic Skeptic does not like hot dogs. You know what? That's your choice. You don't have to like them. What's the old Dan Aykroyd from the National Lampoon's Great Outdoors line?
Lips and anuses.
There you go. I guess, you know what? With that saying, I guess I like lips and anuses. So,
hey, you guys, did you hear what Chet wanted? He wanted hot dogs. It's lips and anuses, kids. that film is on loop around here sometimes. While we're on the topic of cardiac issues and hot dogs, last week on Weirdos at Home, which Dennis, we got to get you on there soon. We had a friend of mine, Justin Genovese, on, who's a comic that I came up with, who then sold his soul and became a high school guidance counselor at an all-girl boys Catholic school in New Orleans. So he did the full 180. Basically, me and him, the way we started in comedy turned out like Mean Streets, where he went into the church like Harvey Keitel, and I just got shot on the street. Nobody gave a fuck. But the point was he was explaining to Tara, because this week is Tara's birthday, and the original plan in the before times, we would be at Wrigley Field this week watching Lady Gaga fucking rock the north side of Chicago. At least that's what I'm told. I've never heard her perform. But what the sausage cycle, Dennis, are you familiar with that?
No, I don't. Give me a quick synopsis of what that is.
Okay, very quickly. If you're at Wrigley Field, over the course of 9 innings, but you want to get it done as quick as you can, healthily. You do Chicago dog, Polish sausage. What was the other one? I'll think of them. But the five sausage options on the menu. So it's the Chicago dog, Polish dog, Italian sausage. I'll think of the other two, but you guys get where we're going here. Yeah, to the ER with Dennis and me again, because we're all having heart attacks this time.
Oh yeah, no, and that's why I eat a vegetarian when I can, because I want to be able to eat a cheesesteak every once. Like literally, at some point in my brain, after all of this, I was like, I'm never going to be able to have a cheesesteak ever again. This is so depressing. Not that they're great and wonderful, but I mean, it's like having that thing, and realizing that I haven't been taking great care of myself, made me realize on how many things that I'm going to lose that are just small enjoyments because I screwed.
The way how I'm looking at it is that I get to limit my sin in one area, speaking like a true post-Baptist boy, but I get to to enlarge the amount of sin I do in somewhere else. I lost some weight a while back, and I'm thinking maybe I should start smoking again. I don't know.
Well, it's a lot of fun, and you look cool.
Oh, definitely.
I miss smoking cigarettes every waking moment and in my dreams, but that is worse for you than the food, because after the first heart attack, I went completely vegetarian. I ate meat once a week, and it would be chicken and occasionally bacon. Like one day a week, I would allow myself to eat meat, and I would only eat red meat once a month for the first 4 monts, and I had another heart attack, and it was because I was still smoking cigarettes.
Oh.
The smoke, what the smoke does is it helps. It pulls more of that plaque into your heart area.
Carol, let's go ahead and do earmuffs, okay? You don't need to hear the scary thing these guys are saying, all right, babe?
So what I'm hearing is that you're saying I should just be drinking. I should just triple down.
No, that lubricates everything in the blood. That keep going with the alcohol.
All right.
I mean, the liver. Look, this is proof that alcohol is good for you because our livers are self-healing.
Dennis, have you ever heard of a man named Richard Overton?
Yes, he's a voiceover artist and a comedian.
Okay, I'm sorry. You're thinking of Rick Overton, the guy that blocked me on Facebook. I'm telling you, Richard Overton was for a minute he was 100
of Ovaltine.
No. He was an old black guy who fought World War II, but he lived on the east side here in Austin. But at one point, when Obama was president, he was the oldest living World War II vet, and like 105 or something. I mean, like legendarily. So they go over to East Austin to interview him, and they say, "Hey, Rich, how'd you make this happen, man? This is incredible. You still hang out at Sam's Barbecue down the street, and kick it in the barbershop every day. How'd you just? Well, it's bourbon every day and 2 cigars. Now get the hell off my property. Get out of here."
Now, cigars you're not supposed to inhale.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he was OG. As OG as it gets. Shit, they renamed his street after him here in Austin.
And in fairness, I mean, like, you hear those stories every once in a while. Everybody jumps behind them, and they're like, "Oh, look, this 128-year-old guy eats steak and fucks women and horse and smokes 2 packs a day, and he lived to be 129."
There is a longevity. There is a longevity gene. Keith Richards has it. His granddad had it. His dad had it. It's very rare, and you can basically beat the crap out of your body and live for a long period of time, more or less.
Those aren't the people to like. Trust me, I was, as a young shitty hack comic, was like, "What? Jim Fix died while running. That's why I don't run." Like that's I've done all that, but they aren't the things, the models to aspire to. They are.
You should not be emulating those people, no, because more than likely you're just going to die.
By the way, we came in here to, oh wow, this is where the conversation goes. We're all jovial talking about rubber duckies and puppets having sex with them, and now we're talking about dying and how to prevent your life.
And now we're like, seriously, Dennis, we only had you on to break this news to you.
This is the intervention time. All right, cool. Let's.
It sounds like both of y'all are killing it on the health front, as opposed to the way I've been treating my body during this quarantine. And for me, I'm like, this has been healthy for me. I've been on a run here. But I do have to point out how much I love that the same cousins who will get on my ass on my Facebook for posting a photo of some delicious steak or slow roasted rack of ribs, the same people who get on there and go, "Did you have a heart attack? What are you doing, Sam? Stop, eat a salad. Come on, man." Those are the same ones talking about how COVID is a hoax. So I'm going to stick with the ribs, and I'm going to stay inside.
I think those guys are just trolls no matter what you do. Like, if you did a healthy lifestyle, they're like, "Yeah, but you miss bacon, don't you, Sam?" Like, if you did, which, by the way, there is a compromise. That's the true thing. Have a steak, but also have a salad next to the steak. That's, that compromise right there.
Or maybe eat a salad, more than just like as a novelty. I feel like salad was when we were growing up. Andy, I don't know if they even had salads when you were growing up.
They just had like iceberg lettuce in a bowl, and that's what they call this.
We were watching some the other night. I don't know what it was off the top of my head. I was real fucking high. And they said, they said it wasn't like the salad from every pizza place ever. And they show, y'all might have seen that clip or that bit where it's like, "So what do we do?" The guy ordered a salad. Sorry about my, please do not cancel me. I know it's very offensive Italian, whatever that attempt was. He's like, so you just put the head of lettuce in the bowl, then what? A couple tomatoes and an onion? We got these old peppers in this jar. What do we do with these? Just dump them in.
The 1975 salad wouldn't have any onion in it. You get some iceberg lettuce, maybe a slice of tomato,
A little bit of cucumber.
That's about it.
Carrot shavings if you're fancy.
I remember the moment when romaine lettuce first entered the world of salads. That's how old I am.
What?
Incredible.
New lettuce? Get the fuck out of here.
There's more than one lettuce?
Right.
Bro, did you hear about the new lettuce? Dude, new lettuce was fucking good, dude.
So my girlfriend Amy's in the chat, and she's from Texas, and she's telling me how Jell-O is a salad in some parts.
Yeah, what Amy is doing right now is flexing her East Texas street cred.
By the way, dude, I'm not about like I buy these little I don't know if it's Dole. Yeah, it's Dole. It's Jell-O with fruit. It's a fruit cup with Jell-O around it. I eat it all the time. Yeah, it's sugar. I try to get the note, with the not added sugar Jell-O if I can. But I mean, you're still eating horse hooves with fruit, so there's fruit with those horse feet that you're eating. So that bone.
This is Chet.
But yeah, so yeah, it's I mean, I try to make as many better decisions as I can, just so like for breakfast, I make sure I eat a banana every day for breakfast. Yeah, I'm gonna have probably a microwavable Jimmy Dean sausage sandwich too. But if I'm out and about, I can have the Beyond, I can have Dunk's Beyond breakfast sandwich. Again.
Oh, you know what I did last night, Dennis? You'll appreciate this. When Tara was doing like the in the bathroom with the door closed, getting ready for bed, mysterious lady, like Anakin Skywalker chamber stuff that they do before we go to bed at night. Mm-hmm. I snuck myself a little the pancake corn dog with the breakfast sausage in it.
I've had one of those, but I've seen them. I've been thinking about getting one of those just to try it out, but I haven't. Is the juice worth the squeeze of it? Is it?
I'll tell you what, I'm very happy with the squeeze, Dennis.
Fair enough. Sausage wrapped around pancake on a stick. I mean, it's just, I think the history of food on a stick, nobody sells health food on a stick, so
no one does.
They're called kebabs, and they're foreign and weird, and we might not even let them stay in this country.
Foreign food is bad, spoken like a true Texan. Thanks.
Meanwhile, if you go to the Texas, Dennis, have you ever heard about the Texas State Fair? When you're talking about food on a stick, have you ever heard about what they do up there? It's like we
have it in Maryland too. Like everything they'll put on a stick and deep fry it. Yeah, deep fried butter on a stick, deep fried Oreos. There's somebody at some state fair doing deep fried ice cream, which just blows my mind on how that works out.
Just the science of some of this shit, Dennis. The science of the concocting of it is fascinating. Like exactly ice cream or Andy, deep fried butter. I mean, I could, if you gave me a bowl of flour and a stick of butter and a pan and a few sticks, and we're like, all right, big shot. And you flex those culinary fucking moves you're flexing on Instagram. I couldn't. I'd make a mess and burn the fucking apartment complex down trying to make butter on a stick.
No, yeah. Well, that's the thing that the thing that bothers me. Like I've heard this. There's deep fried ice cream somewhere, and I don't know how that even works. How you take something cold, put it in hot frying grease, and it doesn't come out as just a stick.
Well, you have to flash fry it. It has to be in there just for a second.
Look what do you see what kind of professional Andy is? He sat there and let you and I, Dennis, sound so fucking dumb about, man, I can't even imagine how, hey, so they take this ice cream. Do you hear what they're doing? They take this, and it stays together. My God. And then he's like, just let them finish. Let them wear themselves out. It's a flash fry, guys. It's a flash fry.
Flash fry. That's how they do that. All right. Thank you for
Well, I suffered many years by a fry later. I was a short order cook for a number of times, and I might be frying a turkey this Thanksgiving. I'm not absolutely sure.
I'm 1,000% behind deep fried turkey for Thanksgiving.
I've done it twice. I'm hoping to do it here. And Dennis, I think you can come. Well, you're local, so you can come on over.
Please do. I have. I'm not going to go see my family on Thanksgiving because I refuse to pay overpriced airfare just to be annoyed by my family. So I don't go. That's why I don't fly. But So yeah, no, please, remind me around then. I mean, I'm more. Trust me, if you're deep frying a turkey, I'll be there.
Very good. Very good.
Or not, I will be. But so,
Dennis, have you done the deep fried turkey thing before? I've never done
I bought back when I was in college. I bought when I was working at Home Depot when I was younger. I bought two turkey deep fryers. One
like
for my mother. Yeah, the big kit. One for my mother and one for my best friend's mother, because I was always rummaging over through her fridge at her house, hanging out with my buddy all the time. So I'm like, here now,
tribute.
Yeah. And so I think it was Mother's Day. I got it for both of them on Mother's Day, and that my mother made one that summer and then made one for Thanksgiving, and it was amazing. And then one of my older brothers, the one who's a vegetarian, complained that the turkey, deep fried turkey, is too greasy. I'm like, that's called juice, you jackass. It's called being delicious and not overcooked. So then she stopped doing it.
A properly fried turkey is not greasy.
No, it's not. It wasn't. He's just an asshole. But it was my brother who hasn't talked to me in 8 years. And the thing was I had an idea I had a like for something and he had to shit on it just because we didn't get along. That's really what it boiled down to.
I'm coming for your record, Dennis. I'm coming for that 8-year mark.
There you go. 911 cooking oil fire at Andy's place is Thanksgiving. Yeah, no, you got to be careful. I mean, I will recommend Alton Brown has a wonderful turkey Tarek DIY how-to video on how to make a very incredibly safe and wonderful deep fried turkey, where it involves a ladder and pulleys and hooks and ropes and all kinds of unnecessary stuff. But it's great, and I follow all his safety recommendations. Alton Brown, follow all his safy recommendations.
Alton Brown, he's
Alton Brown's great. Also, I think Andy could play him in an HBO movie. He's in that category that we bring up every once in a while.
I would be jealous of Andy's hairline.
No, this is true at this point. Yeah, but he has much better wrinkles than I do. I have to tell you, Alton Brown has a much better face.
Please, Andy, I'd fuck the shit out of you, dog.
Well, thank you. That's so sweet.
All right, I know what I wanted to say though. I'm so sorry. See, we're inclusive here, folks. What I wanted to say was obviously none of us ate breakfast this morning. That is very clear. We've been talking about barbecue and we've been talking about vegetarian hot dogs, like inmates talking about Cindy Crawford this morning, fellas. Unless you don't like Cindy Crawford, whatever. Talking about whatever you like. Don't cancel us.
About their rubber glove fifi.
Thank you, Dennis. But I wanted to point out, Tara and I were planning to do a big pork loin today. That we got. It's that thing that's been in the fridge for a couple of days. And we're like, we're back against the clock, people. We got to move. So, fellas, it's not my first rodeo, but if it was you, how do you do a pork loin on a Saturday afternoon? Friday afternoon.
I would put it in a slow cooker and then shred it up afterwards and do some kind of pulled pork thing going on there. It's easy, simple, tasty.
Tara just said she's breaking up with you and breaking up with me and moving to live with you.
I mean, if I don't know. Is it pre-marinated?
We got an open canvas, Den.
Okay, cool. Because I was gonna say, if it's one of those pre-marinated package like Hormel ones, yeah, Andy's right. Throw it in the slow cooker. If it's unseasoned and everything, you know what, dude? Maybe throw that. I know this works for fish. I don't know if this is gonna work for pork. This might be me wishful thinking and seeing what happens. Throw that on a wet cedar plank. Throw it on a charcoal barbecue. Indirect heating and slow smoke that on that cedar plank and see if that makes something moist and soft and delicious.
The wood is good.
I would like to see that experimentation happen and see how that comes out. Like I've done that cedar plank cooking with salmon. I would love to see if that'll work with pork. Pork has a lot of really good juicy flavor, but it's also got a lot of fat. So it'll probably really take all that smoke and the cedar flavor in really well. Whereas like ribs kind of, they take on some of this, but they still have their own flavor to it. I don't know what I just said in that last sentence. I don't know if any of that made sense, but I don't know. Throw it all away.
Excuse me, guys. One second. Hey, babe, the pork loin is just going to be this experiment we do for Dennis.
And we'll Instagram him how good it is and make him salivate.
Hey, babe, we have to please our new overlord, Dennis Mallor.
I mean, you asked what I would do. I was like, I would like to try some experimentation. So
I like it. I like that attitude in quarantine. We're heading into a new era. We got to get out of our comfort zone. You're exactly right. I don't mean go out and start jerking off without your mask on.
What's
just
the worst?
two cool cedar plank stuck in the oven.
What's the worst that could happen? It comes out bland.
You still season it.
Right? Exactly. So yeah, worst case scenario, it comes out tough and bland. I mean, if you burn it to a crisp, that is not my experimentation method at fault. That is a fundamental cooking flaw, not the recipe flaw. But no, I mean, how could that go? How could he go wrong? Slow smoke, charcoal smoking a pork roast. Yeah.
Is there some way you can incorporate bacon with a pork roast?
See, Andy, I just was about to bring up a move I used to do. Might have led to the heart attack at 33. Not sure. Can't be for sure. You wrap it completely end to end in bacon where you don't even see pork loin sticking through. And you just slow roast it, let it sit there. You hang out all day. You're watching football back when that was a thing. I don't know if you guys remember.
Question. Do you lattice the bacon, or do you just wrap it in circles, or do you lattice?
I just do circles. I don't have time to do this fancy crosswork Argyle shit. I don't, to wrap it up and get it in there.
You don't want to do a baking knitting blanket?
I will take your bacon knitting class. Yes, Dennis, I will sign up.
Fair enough. Yeah, information. Over, under, back and forth, and then tie it in a suture's knot at the end, and you're done.
What are the Chinese seeds, guys?
You know what? I saw about that on the news. I feel like they identified some of them. I saw the headline, but I mean, I guess this is China's way of Arabian princing you, where it's like, here, go these plants and we'll make seeds and you'll plant them and we'll take over I don't know. Maybe it's the plot from Guardians 2. It's China's.
Well, last night, I see what you're saying. Last night, Tara found an article saying that it was you say gourds and. Anyway, she's gourds and some vegetable, but squash. I see like squash. There you go.
But orange flower resembles a squash.
Is it just the worst prank? Is this like the buddy you grew up with who's like, it'd be really funny. You know what we should do? And you're like, that's not funny. That's not that's not what. That's a waste of our fucking time. Send seeds to people. Get the fuck out of here, Ray Jimenez.
What scares me are the people who don't plant the seeds, but just eat the seeds without knowing what they are.
We were talking about that last night. Tara ate like a bag of them.
Yeah, send people some seeds. If they plant them, then send them something else, and then you got them on the hook. Eventually, send them a couple mailings of different things, and then send them a thing. It's like, hey, thanks so much for being part of our monthly seed subscription service. Please send $9.95 and your social security number to Ching Chong Spoon on the stairs, and that will be. Oh God, why did I do that? All right, I sorry, I just got you guys canceled with this. Anyway, you know what I mean. Send.
Hey,
you made an attempt, Dennis. You made.
Is there any chance that this could be some kind of weird Monsanto plan? Where you know how that deal where Monsanto seeds, if they end up on your land, they have some argument whether or not they just straight up own your land at that point because their seeds are on your land. Could be some kind of long China agro terrorist move?
Yeah, no, they're mailing you assembly seeds where if they grow on your land, it now becomes China's property.
Well, I for one welcome the new. I don't even know what you say. What you say? The new red. I was going to say something super offensive, but it's just waste energy anymore, guys.
Let's go back and let's go back to trolling the Chinese by saying, "Welcome to the new President Winnie the Pooh army."
I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to hold up. I'm going to get like a yellow card in soccer as a potential warning of going into dangerous grounds because you can see it coming. You can see it coming maybe a few seconds beforehand. I'm just going to get a yellow card.
In one sentence, I prove this haircut to be a political statement and not a genetic defect.
Yeah, right.
I'm sorry. Anyway, but yeah, the seeds is weird. I'm not quite sure what the point behind it is, but I mean, what's the worst that they have?
Hey, Dennis, hey guys, I don't want to change the subject. I was just catching up on the chat here on Friday mornings with Andy and Sam, special guest. Epileptic Skeptic jumped in at some point. We missed it. My boyfriend knows what I do in the bathroom before bed. Is she saying she drops a massive, extremely offensive shit and then goes and gets in bed?
Oh, no, I thought she was revving up the engine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, she gets herself off and then gets in bed because her boyfriend doesn't know what he's doing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's an interesting interpretation of the facts, Sam, and maybe there's some kind of projection on your part, psychologically speaking. I'm not sure.
Preemptive orgasm before the moment of disappointment.
And a huge gross shit, or just whacking off?
There we go.
I'm sorry. That was inappropriate. See, that's why, you hear from the consultants that we hire from outside. I got to get more involved with the chat. I give it a shot. I apologize, Andy. I told you I'm not good with the live chat. See, it always backfires. I don't need to be talking about epileptic skeptics, bowel movements. Ma'am, I'd like to apologize to you publicly. I'm sure your husband fucks the shit out of you. Boyfriend, excuse me. I hope you get there. I hope it all works out.
Awesome. So, let me propose this to you guys, because Andy and I were talking about this the other day. We're all podcasters. We all work in the world of audio and entertainment and video and stuff like that. We have our shows that we're doing one right now.
We have nowhere else to go.
I got an email. Let's talk about this, if you guys, because I'd love to hear your opinion on this as fellow entertainers. I got an email from somebody the other day asking if my podcast, So What Do You Really Do, would like to be partners in this new emerging social media app called Babbel. And just for a quick second, guess how Babbel is spelled? Without any vowels. So instead of Babbel, it's more like but.
So how do you spell it?
Babbel. So
and how do you know it's pronounced like that?
I'm guessing. Well, it's the thing. Here's what it is. It's a social media app where you are allowed to, instead of posting words or posting videos, it's 34 seconds of audio.
Huh.
And your other users interact with this clip of audio. And I really just look at this and go like even on Instagram, I could post 1 minute of video. So why are you giving me half the content landscape and half the time?
Right.
What is the point of this?
Well, Dennis, here's what's going on. People are running out of ideas because all of the good ones were already taken.
Well, perhaps that's the thing. This is a couple college kids. It's a Harvard kid here trying to create a social media app that they can sell to a big company and be the next big hot thing. We're going to be the next Vine or whatever, this or that. But they're calling it micro podcasting, and it's like, I don't see how this, my podcasts are me interviewing artists and entertainers about their day jobs. I'm not Bill Burr. I'm not getting up every Monday morning, flipping on the recorder, doing a hilarious rant, and then ending it. You know what I mean?
And Dennis, hitting the record button when you're done, hitting stop, and walking out of the room knowing damn well you'll have 5 million views on whatever you just laid down. Right?
Yeah, is that what it is? I'm going to do a 34-second interviews with strangers every day on my that's what it's supposed to be. I'm gonna ask a question on this. It's like I'm interviewing people through Twitter. Is that basically what is happening?
Well, talk about Dennis. I don't want to interrupt you, and I don't want to interrupt you, but I have to point out this might be the worst callback in history. But from the top of the show to now, I've just given one of the viewers a heart attack. So there's your callback of the day, Dennis, and I defy you to top that upsetting callback from a serious conversation about heart attacks that led to someone having a heart attack watching the show.
Well, we're joking around and having fun, and I don't know if somebody alluding to your bowel movements is bullying, or I literally think there is a book out there that says we all poop. So
I remember it winning a Pulitzer, Dennis.
Yeah, Pulitzer Prize winning book that we all poop, and we not only do we have to do it, we enjoy doing it. And if you're not enjoying
and Dennis, you know what people don't realize? Until that book came out, people didn't realize that everyone pooped.
They thought it was just their own sins and anxieties being escaped through the devil's hole of their backside.
Hundreds of years, people walking out of bathrooms embarrassed, going, I hope nobody knows what I do in there.
All right, guys. So we're coming down to the end of our hour.
Look on Dennis's face where he's like, I got to get out of here.
We are going to talk about what we have coming up. Got anything coming up, Dennis?
What I have coming up is all next week, all for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be part of the Burbank Comedy Festival, sponsored by Flappers Comedy Club in LA. They're doing 2 whole weeks of virtual comedy shows featuring over 250 comedians. Me being
some great names. I looked at one of those lists that you had posted.
Yeah, Laurie Kilmartin, Jackie Cation, and Laurie Kilmartin are going to be.
Didn't Lori's mom pass away during this COVID summer?
She passed away from COVID in a living facility, and she tweeted, it was heartbreaking, heart-wrenching, and Laurie Kilmartin's. It's still heartbreaking, and that the whole thing happened, but she still also made it funny. Laurie Kilmartin is an amazing, wonderful.
She's an amazing comic.
Check her out on any of those shows. But yeah, if you go to BurbankComedyFestival.com, if you just Google Burbank Comedy Festival, you can find a full list of things. You can see what shows. If anywhere you have internet access, you can see these shows. Go to deadairdennis.com. Look at the calendar right there. You can purchase tickets right through the site. It's all, I'm pretty sure all the times are California time.
Yeah, they are.
Time zone adjusting and stuff like that, because even me, I look at the time like if it's 9 p.m. there, and then it'll be 10 p.m. here, and if the moon is 28 degrees this way, and if the temperature is 4 degrees, it's So yeah,
Dennis, I don't think the average American has spent so much time in their life thinking, unless they're farmers in the Midwest somewhere, thinking about time zones, due to the fact that all of our entertainment is now done by what part of the country you're in. And we have just got done splintering entertainment into a million different platforms. I just got on the CBS All Access app. We found shit that we forgot existed. How about the Gilligan's Island in Space cartoon, y'all? What?
Crazy.
I never heard of that.
Yeah, Dennis, I'll send you some stuff today. It's gonna blow your mind. Buckle up, buddy.
Worth the $9.99 a month. I was not a subscriber. I had no intention to sign into CBS All Access, but if there's a Gilligan Island cartoon, well, I'm furloughed for another 2 more months.
It's gonna be a long time before we get any of this figured out. I want to. I don't do this often, Andy. But I'd like to say any comments that I made towards people in the live chat, I was joking around. I don't know how familiar anyone is with anything I do, but unless we're talking about politics, and even then, I'm going to probably turn it into some kind of poop or pee joke by the end of it, because that's the kind of immature, loose 35-year-old that I am. So I made no attempt to personally attack anyone. We just try to make each other laugh on this show. I know how hard it is for everyone in this country right now. I deal with depression like you wouldn't believe before a plague rolls into the room, guys. I know, man. This is driving us up the fucking wall. So the only reason we do this show, or Dennis does his shows, or Andy does all the stuff he does, is to try to just make each other laugh this summer. Fuck.
We appreciate everybody coming in and watching these shows, and when we do these, we literally can't do it without you guys and gals, and that's why we went on early, is because we were doing this and we started joking around. We got on a roll and we're like, let's just start now, because we really need to get this for other people. So thanks so much, everybody, for watching. We hope you enjoyed the jokes that we put out there. None of them was meant with malice and intent. It's just that we're just here to make you laugh.
We are artists, and we are doing our craft on the fly, in the moment.
Dicks out.
Not everything's going to work. A lot of things do. All right. On that note.
Hey, one thing, Andy, I got to point out, a little, not such a downer. If this show this morning really bummed you the fuck out, and now you're, about to go protest or get us canceled, we don't work for Les Moonves. Again, a joke. That's what we do here. People see how it works. Last night on Weirdos at Home, probably about the most positive, upbeat show I've ever been on in my life. It was the Tara Brown 35th birthday special. We had surprise guests from Tara's World from all over the country dropped in on the magic screen behind me here, and it was just a great time. And if you don't like 3 middle-aged white dudes bitching about first world problems and vegetable hot dogs Tune in to see a real love fest at the birthday special from women of color and professional women and young women and not three guys talking about ignoring the doctor's warnings.
Very good. Well, hey, I hope Tara has a great birthday and great festivities.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I'll let her know.
I can't wait to see you. I can't wait till we can all do this show live in one room together after I fly to Austin, Texas. Or better yet, you fly from Texas to Boston.
That
I
does make
will,
the most
and I
sense.
may not ever come back the way shit is going down here.
All right, guys. Everyone in the chat, take care. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week.
Bye.
I'll see you later, Andy.
Bye. Yep. And now it's still a live mic.